Official True Jew, and shout out to him, tagged me in this story on Twitter. And this is actually a very interesting and important story to actually bring to y'all for a couple of reasons. And this is not me defending BLM whatsoever, because I already know how that organization gets down. Just look at the website. But this is what happens when you have people that come into something, and I'm going to just say something, with some intention that you think they have, but then they have ulterior motives. So this woman's name is Clara Kraber. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce her last name. She's 20 years old, and she comes from a very affluent background. Now, you would think that, okay, she's affluent, she comes from money, and, you know, what would she be doing down there? Well, some people who may have wealth or status may genuinely want to be involved, but I think they find other ways to do it. But this woman just wanted to be in so badly and wanted to be a badass so badly that she decided that she was going to go down to a certain area where they were protesting, and decided she was going to involve herself with breaking and smashing through property. So much property, in fact, that just by herself, she caused $100,000 worth of damage by herself. Just by herself, she caused $100,000 worth of damage. And people say, how are you able to cause that much damage by yourself? Trust and believe, breaking a window to a store, that's thousands of dollars right there for repair right on by itself. So it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. And once you break that window, you want to go into the store that you broke the window to, or the door to, and break other things. And those thousands add up very quickly. Now, what I am curious is, what store did she do this at? Because $100,000, that doesn't sound like a low end store to me. But see, if they didn't get her picture out there, see, here's the thing. They call it BLM, and there have been videos that have been put out there, and I think even news articles are saying that white people have now invaded BLM and everything like that. So it's a double-edged sword for me. It's a good thing, bad thing. The good thing is I really don't care, because see, when you look at BLM's website, they literally piggyback off of the deaths of black men and don't have black men anywhere really represented on the site except for the ones who die, who are killed. The bad thing is now palm color people have invaded that group for their own purpose, like they have infiltrated many other organizations that black people have started and began literally at a grassroots level and destroyed by coming in and having ulterior motives, like how this one is doing here. I mean, think about it. The last few events that involve BLM, that involve white people somehow either getting shot and killed, or getting shot, or destroying property. Here you have right here someone who destroyed property. The one in what was it, in Wisconsin, 2 were killed, 1 was shot. Then you have one that shot a right wing 45 supporter, and then he got shot and killed by the police in, what was it, Portland or Washington, one of the two. I hope y'all are noticing that. And that's what actually started the conversation of PC people literally getting involved, if you want to call it that. But I really call it invading these spaces. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article right here that's coming from thesun.com. Clara Kraber, age 20, is one of 8 people who were arrested Friday night after protests turned violent and destructive around Foley Square up to 24th Street. Video captured of the Friday incident shows a group of several protesters dressed in black smashing in-store windows. Now, notice that they said dressed in black. That's always a telltale sign that it's usually a PC person who's doing it, because they always wear black. Usually, what I'm noticing is if a black person is going to go in there and they're going to destroy anything, they're usually not wearing black. They're just wearing just regular clothes, but black is not one of the clothes they have on. And if they do have some of the black on, it's just one piece of clothing. They'll dress head to toe in black to shield themselves. That's their dead giveaway every single time. And I have to retract a little something. So I'm assuming that she did this by herself, but it says she did this with 8 other people. But they made sure to make her be known because of her status. They're like, why are you as a person who has wealth down there doing that? And see, what happens is it comes back on to us, because, you know, it's crazy because people who don't like BLM, and I'm talking about PC people, they'll come in at a way where they find it almost sounds like they're trying to still talk about black people, but it's like, how can you when the people who are doing this are the ones that's getting injured or killed are white? They look just like you. They just don't have the same views as you. And somebody else brought up a good point. If it wasn't for the woo-woo going on, would these people be out there like that? That's what I'd like to know. To be honest, I don't think they're really genuinely out there for the quote unquote cause anyway. Because how, like, what part of that, like, what are you doing? You just left your upscale area to go all the way to the city to destroy property. In the name of what exactly? That's what I'm trying, you know, really trying to figure out. See, these people are bored. They are bored out of their minds. At this point, BLM really doesn't even belong to the people that created it anymore either. But that's their cross to bear. It says the demonstration was reportedly set up to protest the death of Daniel Prude in upstate New York. Now look at that. It says the demonstration was reportedly set up to protest, but how is that really helping Daniel Prude and, you know, well, not helping him because he's no longer alive, but his family? And notice that they are usually always the ones at the forefront that's always going down there to destroy something. And then it falls back on to black people. That's the one gripe that I have with it. The group reportedly chanted, "Every city, every town, burn the precinct to the ground" as they went. Kraber has been slammed for hypocrisy after news broke of her wealthy upbringing and her decision to take part in damaging city businesses amid a global pandemic. Her mother runs Kendrick Archworks, a Manhattan architect firm that has designed spaces for city universities such as Columbia and NYU, and her father is an Upper East Side child and adolescent psychiatrist who works at Columbia. The family reportedly purchased a $1.8 million apartment in the city in 2016 and has a second home in Litchfield County, Connecticut. Kraber, who is currently a student at Rice University in Texas, is now facing a first-degree riot charge and could face up to 4 years in prison. When reached by the Post for comment, the college student said she wasn't interested in speaking about the charges. She probably feels that she's going to walk away from this because of mommy and daddy's social status and financial status. She probably feels she's going to walk away from that. And she just might. "No, not right now. I don't want to talk about it," she reportedly said. During the Friday night demonstrations, the group reportedly lit trash cans on fire and scrawled graffiti with messages such as abolition onto property. See, what's going on also now is what they're going to do is they're going to hijack this so-called movement. Notice I called it so-called, put air quotes around it, and remix it into something for themselves. Again, having to piggyback off of what supposedly was started by black people. Notice I said supposedly. So I have to put that in there because people are going to say it wasn't started by black people. Look, we know. That's why I said supposedly. Video shows protesters carrying signs with messages such as "Death to America" and "Free all prisoners." They even use slogans that most black people who go out there and protest don't even use. That's another thing you have to pay attention to. Look at the signs that a lot of PC people go out there holding. And look at the phrases that are on those signs. Usually those are not phrases that black people go around carrying or yelling. Of the 8 arrested Friday, all were charged with rioting and some are facing additional weapons and burglary charges. Speaking to the Post, a law enforcement official who was on the scene called Kraber's arrest the height of hypocrisy. This girl should be the poster child for white privilege, growing up on the Upper East Side in another home in Connecticut. I wonder how her rich parents feel about their daughter. How would they feel if they graffitied their townhouse? Elsewhere in New York, protests over Prude's death sparked after his family released details of how he died of causes related to asphyxiation after being detained by police have turned violent as well. On Friday night, shocking video footage captured protesters smashing glasses as people ate outside of Rochester. 11 people were arrested and 3 cops were injured during the city's third night of protests over Prude's death. And they don't mention how one of those cars was driving through the protesters downtown, I think somewhere in Manhattan. I think that's where it was. I don't think anybody got injured, but I think that person's car got got a few dings to it. I don't think any glass shattered, but yeah, I have to agree with that person. This person, like this, it is the poster child for privilege. What in the world was she doing down there? That reminds me of the story with the two PC girls a couple months ago that I talked about, who came from upstate New York all the way down there and tried to, or did, set a police truck on fire. And I think they tried to set another one on fire too. No, that was the lawyers who did that. See what I mean? The people who have the most privilege are the ones that are going out of their way to be the most destructive, mainly because they know they can hide behind their privilege. And I can tell by the tone and when they was talking to her and how she responded, she's speaking as if, oh, these bars aren't going to hold me. Y'all think y'all going to put me in jail for 4 years? Do you know where I come from? Do you know what school I go to? She just strikes me as the type to say that most PC women or these Karens love to talk about, do you know who I am? And do that finger wag and that hand on the hip thing when they talking to people from their so-called place of authority and privilege. But yeah, this chick was bored. I'm gonna just flat out say it. She was bored. She saw what was going on and she just wanted to have something to do that day. She could have did anything else that day, but she just was bored and decided to go down there. She probably didn't even know what was going on, to be quite honest. I'm gonna be honest. She probably didn't know what the hell was going on, but just decided to go down there and cause all kinds of chaos with those other people. I wonder what the demographic of those other people were. I'm curious. But y'all let me know what y'all think.